hello, everybody. Here we are at Brightside Global Trade. We are featuring all the books that you should have this holiday season. But this is one of my favorites that I think you're going to love. It's a great little book, and it's a great gift for Christmas. It's going to be on my list of books to give away this holiday season. And I'm really proud and privileged to be here with Ari, the author of the book. And we're going to talk a little bit about the book and what you can expect so that when you do give it away, it's a great talking piece during the holidays. And it's also a great little book that you might want to put on your coffee table, or you might want to reflect on and just get inspired that, you could really be great. And this little book of greatness is going to help you get there. So Ari, tell me, what inspired you to write the book? And it's such a great topic, and I just love the cover. And tell us a little bit about the book.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for your kind words. I appreciate that. Secondly, you mentioned, a great holiday gift. I actually just saw an Amazon review that came in, and yes, I do read them. I just saw an Amazon review that came in recently where somebody was like, this is a great holiday gift. And I right at the same time, I saw an order for multiple books, and I was like, I'll bet you that same person read through it and was like, yeah, time to go ahead and grab a few of these so we can give them away.
Yep.
My inspiration for the book was to help people reconnect with the magic in their life. We all have such tremendous strength. We all have such tremendous inner abilities within us that we oftentimes forget about. And, we just have to kind of like wake up and reconnect to those things. But the problem is that we don't really necessarily know how to do that. And a lot of the current programs don't necessarily tell people how to, wake up, or they don't necessarily even wake the person up. And so, the first part of a problem is to figure out that there is a problem. So
yeah.
hopefully this, awakens people a little bit, and they say, so here's something that I can improve upon. And then, this is most important, gives them the tools to sit there and just kind of focus on 5 key areas in their life that if they are just improving these 5 areas, then ultimately they are reconnecting with their own selves. They're reconnecting with the people around them. They're reintroducing that like magic into their life. And, you can look at all 5 keys. You can say, well, which key right now am I the weakest in? And whichever key you feel the weakest in, you sit there and put a little bit more effort into that. And then when you find the next one that you're weak in, you just bring that one up a little bit. And each one will just improve your life in various ways, making it so that overall you can live your best life ever. You can unlock your dreams, achieve your destiny, do whatever you got to do.
I just love it. I mean, I just think that right now with COVID, people are just, just don't know. Like, I mean, so many people are losing their jobs. So many people are losing their faith. They can't even go to church anymore. So many people are losing friends and family. This Thanksgiving is going to be so strange not to have a house full of people. And so, I found great inspiration. You asked me if I had read the book on page 75 of your book. And it has this story about exactly she's having a hard time. We all go through hard time, financial. It's in your chapter on provide. And it's so interesting that, and I'm skipping, we'll go the first of the 5 keys, but the one about provide, this is a time in the pandemic that I find that it is a time for us to provide good advice, provide money if you have it to share with someone that doesn't, provide food. Tell me a little bit about provide. I think that's a great chapter, and I think it's really appropriate for this time right now.
Absolutely. So provide is all about giving. And when I say giving, obviously that includes money, but it doesn't just include money. And that's I think where a lot of us have I guess you could say a disconnect or something, because, you'll hear people talk about, charitable giving. Okay, great. Well, for most of us, we instantly hear that and say, okay, money, right? Well, if I have money in the bank that I want to give away or that I'm able to give away, then I'll give it away. And if I don't, then there's nothing else to talk about. Tune out everything after the phrase charitable giving and move on. But the truth is that's not how it is. we can give
Yeah.
anything. I mean, you can give time to a loved one who hasn't seen enough of you lately. You can give a caring ear to somebody. You can pay attention to what somebody says. You can give somebody some encouragement, right? You see somebody who's like having a hard time, you're like, you're going to make it. You're going to do really
Yeah.
well. And I don't mean to do it in like a just a pass. You could do it in a passing way. You can hold the door open for somebody it's giving.
Yeah.
There's both small gifts and big gifts, and another misnomer I think that we have is that giving is going to take away, and I think that there's nothing that really could be further than the truth. The more that we give, the more that we get, and it sounds a little cliche, and excuse me for
It's true
being
though. So
cliche, but
true.
if you've ever been on the end of giving to somebody else, you know that you create this amazing feeling in yourself. You create an amazing feeling in the other person. And, a lot of times, like when you do something that's really spectacular, you can be sitting there and patting yourself on the back for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, a year. I'm saying, because like there's things that I've done here and there, tiny little things that like seemed like almost nothing, but like I feel inside like I made the right decision doing that and giving to that person in the way that I gave to that person. I'm not even going to go into detail, but you know I still feel, like, and it was like a questionable thing where like I had to not like sort of religiously questionable, where like I
Yeah.
had to sit there and do something that maybe was a bit of an affront to God, but was not enough. But if as far as our religious literature goes, God is very much into the respect of people, and it was something that would help somebody maintain their own self-respect. And so I was like, you know what, I feel like even though technically if you follow the letter of the law you shouldn't do this, I got to do this. There's no other way that I can let this happen. And like, we're talking probably 8 or 10 years ago that I did this. So it's been sitting with me for that
Yeah.
long. That's
Yeah.
how these things work. You give to somebody and you find ways to step up to the plate, and it can affect you for the rest of your life.
Nah, I totally agree. And yeah, I'm a big giver, so I find that it's very strange because sometimes, you give to somebody and you'll never get anything back from them, but you never want anything, but you'll get something from somebody else, which is kind of, the way the universe and God works. My the second key, I think we went through two keys in one, but the second one is the purpose. And I have been a big thing about, finding your purpose. So tell me a little more about key about purpose.
Sure. So in the mnemonic, which I don't think we cover that for anybody who's listening or watching right now, but the mnemonic to remember the 5 keys is GREAT, GREAT. It's the 5 keys to greatness. So just remember the word great. And those
Yep.
keys, the way to remember them is give, reason, engage, amazing, and tenacity. So anyways, the second key is engage, like you said, or presence. No, sorry, that's the third key. The
I'm
second key
sorry.
is
I
reason and
totally
purpose. No, I did that.
wrong.
I
Yeah,
jumped to the third for some reason. That's the one I want to
that's
talk
okay.
about. No, I'm kidding. But it's important to know, to have a defined purpose in life. A lot of times we're running through life, and I go through this also. We're running through life and we're doing the best we can, but there's a million things that are on our plate, and it's really difficult, and we're overwhelmed, and there's all this stuff going on, and we're not necessarily aligning our life to a purpose. So the more that we're able to define that purpose, and then if we see that we're not aligned with that purpose, to realign with that purpose, ultimately the more connected to our own life we are, and the better off we're doing. The great example is, there's 100% it applies in your own personal life. And the more that you're engaged, that you have a reason for your personal life, and you know what you want to live for, but sometimes that's hard for people to define and to figure out. But for work, like that's one of the biggest areas that it really helps, because so many people, like, they show up to work Monday morning, it's 9:15 a.m. They look at their coworker that they're buddy with, and they're like, it's almost Friday,
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
You're like, you just started this 15 minutes into the week. What are you doing? You're already thinking about Friday afternoon. I get it, right? It's nicer to be off work than on work. 100%. But the idea that we show up to work and immediately think about leaving is I mean, that's a huge portion of our lives. There's 168 hours in the week, and most of us are working for 40 of them. That's 25% of your life. So to
Yeah.
only be at work and thinking about leaving is very difficult. But so in there I talk about defining a reason or a purpose for your work life and your home life. And if you have a large area of your life as well, you can define another purpose for that as well. For most people, a giant chunk of their time is sleeping. So, purpose for sleeping is to be well rested. But
Yeah.
for work, you could just look at what you're doing and the job that you're doing and the work that the type of place that you're employed at, and you can figure out a work. And I have an open offer in the book. If you're looking at what you do and you're having trouble figuring out a purpose in your work life, reach out to me. We'll figure it out. But the thing is, like, just a few examples. If you're in an administrative position, right, you might think, oh, it's boring. Like, I don't do anything. Like, what am I doing? Who cares?
Yeah.
I file, like, I do accounting, I do administrative. I'm overseeing everything. Who cares? But no, I mean, look at what your office is all about, and look at the deeper purpose to what your office is all about. Let's just take an example, a cardiologist, right? If you lose sight of the big picture, then yeah, you're administrative staff. Who cares? But if you are focusing on what the overall office is doing, you're saving people's lives every day, over and over and over again. You might say, but all I'm doing is paperwork. Yeah, but if you're not doing that paperwork, the doctor can't do his job, and the doctor's saving lives. So you're the back office support. You're the one who's making it possible for the doctor to save more lives and to influence more people and to save more people and to do what he needs to do. So that's the way to focus at it. Focus on it is what is the larger goal of what we're doing, and what can I do to make that really amazing?
That is so. And if you're not happy with what you're doing, then you're not living. I've been reflecting a lot in something that I read in your book, actually, that really changed the way I was thinking. And I was thinking that, they talk a lot about the spirit, but if your spirit is gone and you're just, doing what other people define who you are, or you're not there anymore. Your presence is not there anymore. So then you want to go through the next key, or you want me to pick a key? Because I think what I like about your book is that there's no, sorry about that phone, but there's no, you can go in and out of your book, and you can start at it after you, or you can go through any chapter. I don't feel like there's any particular order, but as an author, do you want people to read your book in sequence, or can they pick any key they want, or the moment they
Well,
have?
okay, so the book is written as a story, so it certainly works better in sequence in the sense that you're able to follow the full story. If all you want is the 5 keys, then yes, you could go in any order that you want. I like to try and keep it organized in that order of the mnemonic of the GEREAT, just because it makes it so much easier to remember, right? If you're trying to remember,
Right.
I'll tell you, when I first came up with it, I didn't have a mnemonic. It was 5 P words, right? And now I can actually tell you what they are. But here's the crazy thing. When I was sitting there and talking to people and explaining to them the idea, I needed to pull up my my notes in my phone so I could make sure to get all 5 of them, right? Purpose, provide, purpose, presence, positivity, and persistence, right? So it's hard for me to remember that because I'm like, okay, I know that all the words start with a P, but which words are they? But then you sit there and you throw the mnemonic in, it's like, okay, give, reason, engage, amazing, tenacity, boom, all good. And so that's when I came up with the mnemonic, it worked much better. It was much easier and clearer to remember. And I would hope that for most readers, that's the same thing as well. But I have seen people discuss the 5 keys and only talk about the P words and the words that start with P, and it works for them. So really I mean, this is the main point of everything that I'm working on is make it work for you. It's not my system that you need to follow the way that I want you to follow it. It is a framework that I came up with that I would hope that you interact with, think about, brainstorm on, and decide and work on in the best possible way for you, meaning make it your own, right? Use it in the best possible way for you, because I don't need I don't need you to do it my way. My way works for me. Your way should work for you. So that's the main point is, just make it work for yourself. Make sure that it's what you need it to be, and tweak it, and just engage with it in the best way possible. But yes, you could read it in any order, but you won't really necessarily get the story. And I've had a number of people who said that because it's in a story format, it's a lot easier to read. There's not that much story that's happening around the 5 keys. Chapters wise, you have 5 keys, so you have 5 chapters on the actual keys plus another 8 chapters. But word count wise, the majority of the words are in the actual chapters on the keys. So you have a few thousand words before you start with the keys. You have the keys. You have a couple thousand words after that, and that's the whole. I mean, that's really the whole book.
So let's don't give the story away, because you want them to read your book. So give us a little on like a trailer of the storyline, and then I have something I really want to close with. And then another question. So 2 questions. One is the storyline without giving away the whole story, but the excitement of getting people to read, curling up and reading during the holidays and during COVID, because this is the time when we're all reading. Normally we wouldn't have the time to read. And I talked to somebody about this the other day, and I said, the time you would be spending on the road, driving to work, now you've got that extra time. Just sit back, curl up, with a book, hot cocoa, or something exciting. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the plot and story without giving away the thunder.
Okay, so basically, there is a man. The book starts off. There's a man. He's really fed up. He's really overwhelmed. He doesn't know what to do. If you've felt overwhelmed at all in the past, I mean, especially in the past, we're in October, so the pandemic's been raging since March or February, whenever you want to say it started. But we're talking like 7, 8, 9 months. We've all felt like that during this time, stressed and overwhelmed, and I don't know, and maybe this and maybe that, and then too much time on social media, too little time with family, to all these different maladies, let's say. This man is going through a little bit of all of it. And my goal is that any person who reads the book can find themselves in the main character and also in the main supporting character. And so I tried to be a little bit open with that, so that if somebody was feeling a particular way, that they would be able to read themselves into the character. And if somebody wasn't feeling certain ways, they would still be able to connect and read it into that character. Okay,
Yep.
so anyway, so he's feeling like totally miserable, and he's sitting there, and he goes on top of a cliff to sit there and just, think about stuff. And it's actually a scene from when I was younger. Like I was with a bunch of teens. I was a teenager at the time. I was with I was with a bunch of guys and girls. We were all hanging out, and we hiked up, and we were like hanging out like in the dark, like on this cliff with like the highway below. It was really cool. So that's where he is. He's sitting there. He's like watching the cars below, like it's getting dark, and he's like totally overwhelmed, totally upset, totally and just not okay. And a man walks up behind him, and he's like, "What's going on?" And his initial reaction, as many of ours might be, is, "Get the hell away from me! Like, who are you? Why are you talking to me?" And after some time, the man sits there, and essentially he's like, give it another shot. Just, I know it's difficult. I know you're under a lot of stress, and I know like all these things aren't working for you, but give it another shot, and like just follow these guidelines that I'm going to give you. And finally, he's like, "All right, I'll try to implement your thought process." So he sends him off to this lady to learn about it. Her name is Regina, and David is the main character. Regina is the main supporting character. So the two of them throughout the book. So she's sitting there and setting him, okay, go talk to this person, go talk to this person, go talk to this person, go talk to this person. And then throughout the book, he meets all these people, learns about all the different keys. And, there's a few other things happening to him throughout the book. I could have extended the narrative a lot, in different ways, but I wanted it to be a somewhat short read, right? It's about a 3 to 4 hour read, depending on, how fast you read. When you type it into into like an online estimator, the number of words that are in there says it's like a 3 hour and 50-minute read. If you're a fast reader, it'll probably take you a lot less than that. If you're a slow reader, it'll probably take you a little bit longer than that, but not too long. It's officially it's 200 around 239 pages, the whole book, but that's including the front stuff and the back stuff, and that's at a pretty large font size. So it's if I made it like a regular book and I made the font size like smaller with like a little bit less spacing and stuff, it would have been closer to like 120, 150 pages. So it's not like a huge book. It's the idea is you can almost read it like on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday morning, or like you just want to sit down like hang out with a book, pick it up, breeze through it a few hours, and then you have a framework that'll last you the rest of your life.
I think it's awesome. I really think, I think this is it. This is what you really want to give as your holiday gift and what you want to curl up to reading. So my final question then is, any tips to my readers, my club, my viewers, any tips from you on how to climb that cliff during COVID?
The main ones are, and I have a book that I wrote about this actually back in March. It got censored because it was still blowing up, and I wrote a whole book. It was a little on the short end, but still, it was like I sat there and I developed all the thought processes, and it's probably number 2 or 3 on my list to dust off those words and sit there and bring it back out, because I recognize there's a need for like, well, what the hell do we do? Like,
Yeah.
this is just going on. It's never ending.
We
It's
don't
like,
even know if it's gonna go on for another year. I know.
you talk to some people and they're like, it's going to be for the next like 6 years. Nothing's ever going to be the same. And then other people are like, yeah, we're like, rounding the bend and everything. I don't want to like jump into like who's right and wrong. Not even going to go there. But the main thing is, there's a few things. First of all, hold on to your hope, because with like, I don't remember exactly when, but like there's this, when you have hope, you have everything. The entire world is open to you. When you don't have hope, there's no reason left to live. And you hear about the suicide rate increasing with the lockdowns and with the social isolation and all this and all these problems. Hope is, I forget who says it, but hope springs eternal, right? I mean, hope is such an important ingredient for everything that we do. And when we lose hope and we're not able to see that pathway forward, it really can be detrimental on our mindset and on the way that we look at things. And so hold on to that hope. And the other thing I would point out is to remember that change is always an opportunity. Yes, it can be different. Yes, it can be worse to a degree, but there's within every bad thing, within every challenge, there's always opportunity. And so, yes, you're right. There's tremendous challenge right now, right? There's social isolation, there's quarantine, there's lockdowns, there's the economy, there's jobs, there's yes jobs, no jobs, losing jobs, unemployment, not enough money, losing houses, evictions, and I mean, there's tons and tons and tons of things going on right now that are life changing. Where in a regular time, you could sit there and say that's a life changing event, and some people never recover from that stuff, and it's happening to people. On the scale of 2 times or 3 times or 4 times or 5 times, or like 6 of them all at the same time. It is not easy, but there's always, with every challenge, there's always opportunities coming out, whether that means that you find like, oh, this is a business that actually would work right now. I mean, look at Zoom, right? Who thought Zoom would be big? And I just saw a headline that Zoom is now bigger than, I forget what company, but they're huge, right?
Yeah.
Obviously it's too late to invest in Zoom, but there's always that opportunity, right? If you recognize that there's something going on in this virtual world that we're now living in that is a need that is not yet met, or a service for people who are homebound, or a way to sit there and lessen that social isolation, there's always opportunity. We just have to open up our eyes and find it. And so it's hold on to the hope as much as you can and look for that opportunity. And when you see it, grab it. That's the most important thing.
That's right. And then you could be that champion that survived the pandemic.
There's going to be a lot of us. Don't worry.
Oh my God. I have had such a powerful afternoon with you. And so once again, I'm just showing the book because I just love it. Thank you for sending it. And
Got one
we
over here also,
will,
yeah.
we'll be in touch. And definitely, this is something that we would like. So if you're watching, we are brightsideglobaltrade.org. We are the magazine that covers shows, people who like to travel, and books are always something that we feature for those long distance travels. And right now, while you're not doing the long distance travel, you have the time, so you can read. Brightside Global Trade TV is on YouTube, and please write us a comment and press the bell so you can always never miss our videos. Thank you so much, and we'll be seeing you soon.